Welcome everyone to Strategy Shift Podcast. In this short video, I want to tell you a story about how I figured out the best way to find the right problem to solve. Make sure to stick around till the end, where I will share the best technique you can use to figure out the right problem to solve. Just over a decade ago, I was asked by my boss to review how one of our departments was serving its clients. The department was in charge of providing books, book scanning, and other services to students with special needs. A student would come into the department, have a list of books, get interviewed, and then these books would be put into an order that then would have to be scanned, and then the scanned copies would given to the student. It took anywhere between 3 weeks to about 6 months to complete a typical order. And if students came in with dozens of books on the list, like they were graduate students, for example, the order would take even longer. The problem presented to me was that of organizing these scanned books. So they wanted to make sure they're all organized properly in some sort of structure, and then the books that had already been scanned, wouldn't be scanned again. At that time, the problem has gotten really bad. There were dozens of students each week coming in needing the services, but only a limited amount of people and time to do the work. Hiring new staff would take time and money was, of course, is in short supply. Also, on the horizon, the forecast model was predicting that the number of students needing these services would triple in the next 2 years. In most situations, when we encounter a problem, our brain goes to find a solution and then actively lobbies to implement it. This makes sense for, I guess, all of our lives as a species. We've mostly encountered can be solved right away problems. For example, feeling hungry, eat something. Got a cut, put a bandage on. Broken chair leg, fix the leg. And the list goes on. These are called first order effect problems. And first order effect problems are simple problems that once you solve them, what happens afterwards usually doesn't affect anything. So, you fix the chair, everything's good. There's no secondary effect after that. There's a second type of problem that is kind of termed as, let's dive deeper into the issue problem. They're called the second order effect problems. And the main difference between the two is the second order effect problems usually have some sort of effect after you've solved it. So whatever solution you pick, it will have a further effect, knock-on effect, and either create more problems or create more solutions to other problems. In our world, people often look at the second order effect problems, don't recognize that they're second order effect problems, and come up with an obvious solution to it, right? And most of these problems, these second order effect problems, have an obvious fix. And for example, doing something manually in the business, let's write an app to automate it, or a complaining customer, give a discount. There are many more problems. The second order effect problems have a bad habit of coming back after the initial solution has been implemented and bringing in more issues. We're not solving the original one and bringing in more issues. For example, you've automated a process and things are going great, but what happens after you've built the app? Where are you gonna who's gonna maintain it? Where are you gonna keep it? What happens when the app breaks down? Is there a process that you've now created or eliminated that you didn't think about? So all of these kind of add up and usually create more issues after the fact. In the second order effect problem world, usually a simple solution or an obvious solution creates more complexity, which later on leads to more problems. There has to be a better way. To solve this problem, you need to shift your strategy and figure out a way and how to find the right problem. When I got down to working on the organizing of the scanned books issue, I realized that this was just solving the symptom of the problem, and it was the obvious fix for the second order effect problem. The main issue was much, much deeper. To solve this, to find the right issue, I used an ancient Japanese technique called Gemba. Well, it's not really ancient. Anything that's 10 years old or older by now in today's terms could be deemed as ancient. Gamba is a Japanese term that loosely translates to where work happens. It comes from the world of car manufacturing and more specifically from a work system of work called the Toyota production system. See, back in the day, 50s and 60s, in the ancient times, Toyota was struggling to, build cars that would compete with American cars. American cars were cheaper, a little bit better built, and they had the scale. And so Toyota needed to find a way on how to build cars better, so they can sell and enter the world market. So what they did was they developed a manufacturing process that was ended up being a more superior to other car manufacturing processes. It was more efficient and produced better high quality cars. The success of the company is was down to this process that is now known as continuous improvement. The principle behind the continuous improvement is simple. If we improve how we work, then we will create superior products that customers will want to buy. So the continuous improvement of how you do work creates better products, and the better products mean customers want to buy them. There are two ways to improve how work happens. One way is to get management to tell you how to improve, and the second way is to go to Gamba, observe the people, and then ask them how they think it could be improved. As you may have guessed, the second way is much more effective. People who do the work know what must be done to improve it. Gamba is where people work, so to improve any process or work, you go to Gamba, observe, and ask questions. This is what I did. I went to the place where people did the work, did the scanning of the books, interviewing students, other daily tasks. I observed how they did the work. I spoke to them, asked them, how they thought the improvement could be, what could happen. And after gathering all of this information, we worked together to come up with a solution that included an improving of some particular processes, eliminating certain steps, changing how the day-to-day activities occurred, and then developing a automation system that would make some of these processes quicker, more efficient, and effective. Our success was felt almost immediately. Students were able to get their scanned books in days rather than months, and staff was less exhausted and happier. They could serve more students, provide better service, and they didn't need to hire anybody new. Over the course of 2 years, as this whole project was unfolded, we were able to handle a 400 increase in demand without hiring any new staff. So this is where going to Gamba and understanding how people work and asking them for improvements, what it could achieve. So how do you find the right problem to solve? The answer is simple. Go to Gamba, observe the people doing the work, and ask for their recommendations. This simple framework has been in use for about 70 years in the manufacturing world, especially in the car manufacturing world, but has also been adopted successfully in all of the business areas of business. So next time you have a problem to solve, go to Gamba. And to help you when you are observing people doing the work, here's the best technique, the one tool you can use while thinking about the problem and finding the right problem to solve. The tool is called the 5 whys. It is a simple questioning framework, and as you may have guessed, you ask the question why 5 times. You start with one main problem, the visible problem that everybody's seeing, and then you ask continually why that problem occurs until you find the right solution. Sometimes you can go more than 5 whys, but ideally you want to do about 5 levels. So let me give you an example of a 5 whys in action. For example, let's say you own a landscaping business and your customer calls you and complains about the quality of your service. So the first why is, why does our customer complain about the quality of service? And the answer is because the lawn is not as green and healthy and she expected a better service. So that's why 1. Second why. So why is the lawn not as green as healthy as expected, right? So that's the answer. The the second why, and you want to answer that, whatever the answer to that is. For example, because maybe we don't use enough product to kill all the weeds. Okay, so let's get down to the third level. Why don't we use enough product to kill the weeds? The answer to that is because it's expensive and we can't afford to use a lot of it for the price that we charge. So price is a limiting factor there. So the next question is, well, why can't we charge more for the product? And the answer to that is to be the fourth why. The answer to that would be, well, because customers don't want to pay more for the lawn service if it's more expensive. Okay, so the last why would be, why don't customers want to pay more for the lawn service even though they want the healthy, good-looking lawn? Well, the answer to that could be, well, our marketing campaign needs to be revised because it doesn't talk about the benefits of having a healthy lawn and what it could look like to the customers. So there you go. You started with the very first one, bad customer service, and then you get down to the real problem, which is the marketing department is not selling, or the sales department is not really selling the right type of service at the right price to the customers. Maybe not even selling to the right customers. So using 5 whys is like going to Gemba, like go to where work happens, go to the root of the problem. It helps to uncover the real issue behind what's visible, the things that you see on the surface. So when you're addressing the real issue, you are actually solving the problems up the chain. So if I solve the marketing issue and we actually have better marketing, and now we can charge more. So if we can charge more, we can use more product. More product means we kill more weeds. More weeds means we have healthy lawns. Customers are happier, right? So that's like a up and down. Solution is always at the lowest level. The best solution is always at the lowest level. It's probably the hardest solution at the lowest level, but it is the one that will have the most effect. So use 5 whys to solve the real work, to figure out what the real problem is, and to solve it. To create a solution that will be the most effective. Thank you for watching our video on Gemba, where work happens. If you would like to see more videos on operational excellence and how to improve your processes and operations, click on the videos here and here, or maybe it's here and here. And if you like this video and want to see more, please click like and subscribe. Till next time.